Good day, and welcome to the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Bridges. In each episode, I cover my experiences, both good and bad, of being a business builder, as well as my journey through the crazy world of entrepreneurship to reach my goal of earning $10 million a year. All right. We are on episode 127 of the podcast. This week is December the 21st of 2023. About ready to round out the whole year, head into a brand new 2024. We'll all get through these holidays, ready to start a brand new year with brand new goals and everything else. So digging into our podcast this week, we're going to do something that's a bit different. I am going to still continue with a lot of the things, but I've kind of got a theme running through here. But for now, let's just talk our way through it and have a good time. On the books and the learning category here, we have a little bit of the sameness. I'm still working through the $100 million offers with Alex Hormozy. It's not that it takes a long time to learn this. It's not that I'm doing this kind of piecemeal, bouncing around. It's just a good idea for some of these types of books to make your way through them slowly, methodically, step by step, making sure you actually understand what it is that you're learning as you go and that you can apply it to the world around you. That being the most important thing for those of us that are constantly learning is we have to be able to apply what we get, put it into the back 40 of our brain so it falls into the mastery category, which is the second book of our learning series that I'm working on right now. It's all about getting that ability to do without having to truly think. You've worked it, you've done it, you've handled it. This has been a big week for learning for me. I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk a few other things here. Fanatical Prospecting was a book by Jeb Blunt. It was recommended by my mentor, and so I dug into it. I'm about halfway through it now. Great book. Lots of things to learn, lots of things about prospecting that I didn't know. And so I'm getting a good chance to kind of grab a hold of it and really make something of it. So that's a good thing. Another area of learning is I spent the end of last week working on Aaron Fletcher's certification process. And he was doing 4 days in a row, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They have their own certification process, and I was studying it, digging into it last week. I'm planning, right? We'll put that in air quotes, to go through, once the test is released, dig into it and see if I can get that certification under my belt, which is a great thing. When you get into marketing, every certification program has its own flavor, but if you're actually certified in it, then you really want to work the work, walk the walk, and talk the talk, right? Today, our ideas and concepts, we're going to lean back a few years. Under ideas and concepts, I had to think about what did I want as a theme. And today, as we'll get into the business strategies, the theme for today is virtualized businesses. Now, a lot of people went through COVID and they said, oh, I know all about virtualized businesses. I was one of the first ones I know of when I was in the IT field who really went to the vendors and said, yeah, if you're not hosting it for me and you're not handling all the stuff on the back end for me, yeah, I won't get your stuff. I won't get your software. You guys can just have a nice day. And it took them a while to kind of realize that people were starting to walk away. But I was one of the first ones. This is back in 2006 to 2008. And, we had already put $18,000 into hardware. We had high-speed internet, multiple channels, because we needed to be able to pull all this information in. And I just said, this is a ridiculous expense to have to maintain. Pushed it back to the vendors. They eventually came around and kind of woke up that people weren't necessarily going to continue spending $18,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on hardware just to deal with their software packages. Now, as I roll forward, COVID taught a lot of people on how to work remotely, But working remotely isn't the same as you're actually in the office and everything that you need is already out there on the internet. You could be in Costa Rica and it's all there. You could be in California and it's all there. You could go to Barcelona, Spain, and it's all still there. So this changes the way that businesses work. It allows for more partnerships, better partnerships. It also allows for more uptime because things are running in the data center at a level that you yourself can't probably afford. Believe me, having run my racks in the data center for over 10 years, it can get very expensive and can be very difficult to do. That whole virtualized business model, as we'll be talking a little bit about into business strategies, is something that I want you to kind of think about if you haven't already gone out and looked for some resources to kind of think about how you push parts of your business out to the outside world. Then it's time for you to do that. A lot of people say, Randy, this whole virtual business model is really risky and this, that. And it brought me to a quote from Dan Kennedy. He put it into his No BS Magnetic Marketing letter from this month. And what he said is this: smart entrepreneurs manage risks. They aren't paralyzed or inhibited or depressed by them, but they aren't foolish enough to refuse acknowledging them either. And this is where you get into certain other parts of the virtualization model, which is you try not to build in single points of failure. My email is in one place. My CRM is in a different place. My virtual desktop is in another place. So if anything goes down short of a complete collapse of the internet, I'm still functioning. I may not necessarily be able to get it, but as long as it can collect the information it needs and continue to do the things that it needs to do, life is pretty good. I believe it's important to put together a complete solution that you can work with and still be able to function without for a short period of time. That is one of those keys. That's part of the refusing to acknowledge the risks, is we have to be able to say, I'm going to be down for periods of time. It might be very frustrating, might be, difficult to work through, but people will listen. People will work with you. They will understand. And as long as you're upfront with them of what's happening, they will trust you. So this is where we get into the business strategies this week. And for those of you who are actually looking at my whiteboard picture that I put onto Facebook, I'm going to actually work this in reverse order. One of the keys to a virtualized business is a virtual phone system. Now, this is not your daddy's phone system, your mommy's phone system. This is actually a phone system that resides at the data center. Your phone is connecting securely across the internet to their system. Essentially, what you want a virtual phone system to do is to redirect according to a set of circumstances that might be happening. Maybe you're going to redirect according to time. Maybe you're going to redirect according to day, and perhaps the number that's being called. Each of these gives you some flexibility to be able to manage this kind of a flexible system without being tied to a physical location. And a lot of times I will have calls that shut off at 8 p.m. at night, and maybe they'll come on at some days at 6 a.m. because I'm up that early. And other days, like on Saturdays and Sundays, they just go right straight to voicemail. You could program this in a regular phone system, and many times you can in your own private business exchange. That's what they call a PBX, is what it's known as. But essentially, when you've got a phone system inside of your own business, this is one where it's located at your vendor. You're not actually handling all the process. All you're doing is just, as long as your internet is up, you can make a phone call. Another type of a strategy that virtualization, and it works very well with a virtual phone system, is a call center. If you are in an industry like I was in IT, you have to be available 24/7, but you got to sleep. You got to have vacation time. You've got to have downtime. And if you can manage a call center and you get a good call center that understands there's part of this is going to be a fixed fee per month and part of it is going to be by usage, essentially, you can get a 24/7 call center to handle most of your phone calls, if not all of them. If there's no calls, there's no charge. I mean, you're going to pay a monthly fee every month anyway, but as the calls come in, they can either be measured and managed by the call center for you, so you don't have to be sitting around waiting for those calls to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Another business strategy that I was introduced to recently is something called the 5-minute rule, and it applies to marketing. It says that when a call comes in, it should be handled directly by your call center or whoever is answering your phones. And in the 5-minute rule, you want to get back to that person within 5 minutes of any inquiry. And essentially, you're going to drop anything except a client call to address this. It gives you certain flexibilities in how you do things. You're not going to have to be on the phone and drop it immediately. Somebody responds to a lead magnet that you've sent them. They call in on that given number that your virtual phone system knows how to direct it. It comes in via that number, goes straight to the call center, who takes the information from that person, directs it back to your team. And within 5 minutes, somebody needs to be on that phone calling that person back and thanking them. Studies have shown that if you can get to somebody who calls you within a 5-minute period, the chances of you maintaining that relationship with that person, prospect, customer, whatever, go up dramatically. If you exceed that 5-minute period, it drops way off. Basically, within 10 minutes after a person has made a call to somebody, they've moved on, they've forgotten about it, they ignored it and pretended like it didn't even happen. And many times, even if you do call them 10 minutes later, if they're a very busy person, they very well may forgot that they even made the call. Because these days, and let's face it, a lot of people have VAs, they have assistants. The assistant makes the initial call. If you do happen to get a hold of the executive by accident, or, because they just happen to pick up the phone, you might be surprised. The VA or the assistant made the initial call, not the executive you're trying to reach, not the person you're trying to deal with. In terms of business strategies, a virtual phone system, a call center, and following a 5-minute rule are all really good things that can really help your business, your practice, whatever it is that you're doing. We're looking still in the books and learning at $100 million offers, Mastery by Robert Greene, Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt. Then under our ideas and concepts, we've been working with the whole idea of virtualized business and the Dan Kennedy quote about smart entrepreneurs managing risks. They aren't foolish enough to not acknowledge them along the way. So we're going to keep it kind of short coming into the holidays. Next week, I'm going to have a pretty short one, but I'm going to try to give you as much value before the end of the year as I possibly can. This is Randy Bridges for The Budding Entrepreneur, wishing you the best in your health, your wealth, your business, your family, everything about you. Enjoy your holidays. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week.